Written, directed by, and co-starring New Zealand comedy wonderkin Taika Waititi, Jojo Rabbit offers fans the one-time cult icon filmmaker a chance to see what he plans to do with all the career bulletproofing one gets from joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe Cool Kids Club for his day job with Thor Ragnarok and the upcoming Thor Love and Thunder, the answer now turning out to be whatever he damn well pleases. In this case, whatever he damn well pleases turning out to be a whimsical, absurdist, coming-of-age comedy satire nestled somewhere between Wes Anderson but with human warmth and South Park but with actual thoughtfulness about a misunderstood little boy and his imaginary best friend Adolf Hitler. Really? Set in Germany during the last years of World War II's European theater, Jojo Rabbit is the nickname of the main character, a precocious 10-year-old living with his mother played by a very committed Scarlett Johansson while his father is off supposedly, but without much detail, fighting in the war. Bullied by his peers and in want of a father figure, Jojo has gone absurdly over the top all in on the Hitler Youth propaganda foisted on his age group, angling to be the most ultra-committed teacher's pet of a Nazi despite having the exact wrong personality and skill set for the gig and most of the adults around him having found the whole thing kind of exasperating and unpleasant by now, or worse. So instead, he works out his issues conversing with Der Fuhrer himself as a comical manifestation of Jojo's own wished-for confidence, a kind of naughty boy anti-Jiminy Cricket, or id if you like, encouraging his bolder but dumber actions as an 10-year-old's projection of what a cool adult would be. Waititi himself plays Adolf, and while it feels at first like exactly the kind of joke you'd get from a lesser filmmaker, oh haha, funny Hitler, aren't we so edgy, he confidently skips past the look at me aspect and gets straight to the point that it works. You know, said point being not so much to mock the idea of a kid having Hitler as an imaginary friend, but to explore the eternal question of how something like Nazism can take over a modern society. In this case, by focusing on how utterly childish the Hitlerian mythology actually was. You know, for all the real-world horrors that it wrought, it's easy to forget that Hitler and his inner circle yanked the Aryan master race bullshit, you know, in all his blustering speeches, not so much from real history or politics, but from the juvenile pop mythology versions thereof. Hitler was obsessed with tacky heroic art and action-adventure stories for teenagers. And that's where a lot of the Nazi Superman ideal largely came from. So of course it's a 10-year-old and the adult men with the unhinged mentalities still thereof who'd have bought into it most unquestioningly. So it's similar to the obvious ancestor in Mel Brooks' The Producers, i.e. point out that on top of being evil, the Nazis are also stupid and absurd and should be made fun of, but it's also got a sober point to make about Nazism, chauvinism, you know, and all of the attendant strong, nationalist, masculist, ubermen, strong daddy figure, take charge pride ideologies related there too, that these are really just dumb power fantasies for little children and you should get out of them when you grow the hell up. In this case, growing the hell up means learning that his mother has been sheltering a Jewish refugee in their attic, a situation that turns into comic farce as Jojo attempts to keep multiple secrets at once. Trying to keep his mother from knowing that he knows, working with Adolf to handle the situation since he and imaginary Fuhrer are both quite certain that the Jew girl will use her evil powers to harm him if he's not careful, and yes, ultimately coming to understand the real truth about the world around him and up to and including that the people he admires may not actually be very admirable, people he dismissed may actually be quite heroic, and ultimately that there are aspects of himself he may need to confront and destroy to become the person he's meant to be, which is the kind of setup that can sound pretentious and dreary until you remember that the negative aspect of oneself in this case literally means the director doing an exaggerated cartoon pantomime of Hitler. Now, obviously, anything that can be shorthanded as the Calvin and Hobbes but Hitler movie is not going to be for everyone, and I'm not going to begrudge those who just can't get past the visual of making Hitler look non-threatening and whimsical, even if it is ultimately to make him look stupid. Even apart from the hook, I found the film to be at once daring and relentlessly charming, which is a difficult balance. Roman Griffith Davis is excellent as Jojo. It's a very tough part for an actor of any age, and he carries it mightily. Often he's the only actor on screen, and it's really quite a thing. Johansson puts in great nuanced tuners the mother, even as you can kind of see what her arc is going to be coming a long way out. Sam Rockwell, always great, but really puts in a surprisingly powerful low-key work as a low-level functionary who's kind of an enigma right up until he's not. Thomasin McKenzie is very affecting as the girl on the wall, and yes, Taika himself is exactly hitting the right notes as Adolf, especially in the parts where he kind of has to change subtly over the course of the movie as Jojo's understanding of what Hitler actually is evolves to complement it. Jojo Rabbit is a different, challenging, thought-provoking, and ultimately very moving, funny film. I give it 8 out of 10. Seek this one out.